What's up, everybody? It's me, Zach, and CB once again this week answering questions from the community. And in news, we chat about Ubisoft's Forward event, the upcoming sequel to Ready Player One, and a near game on mobile. You'll also hear Nate's impressions of Darius Cosmic Collection on Switch. All this and more from the room where it happened. This is The Gaming Outsider. Greetings, programs, and welcome to episode 303 of The Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community. It's Monday, July 13th. I'm your host, Scott Clark. I'm joined, as always, by my friends, Zach Parkerson.
Is 303 a band?
No, 311 is a band.
Okay. Are you sure? Okay.
I don't know of a band called 303.
Happy to be wrong.
Is there a band called 303?
I think there is.
Okay. Well, you just name any number. It'll probably... Somebody has started a band in a garage by that name. We'll go with that.
815.
We'll start a band called 815.
Yeah,
I like
great.
it. Also joining us, Chris Behrensmeyer.
What up, man?
How you doing?
Tired. It's been a long week.
It's been a long weekend. I spent all day with you on Saturday in the sun and the rain a little bit.
Yeah?
I don't know if we told you this, Zach, but CB had a garage sale on Saturday. And I went and set up and with some of the masks from the Go shop and was trying to sell those to people. It was an interesting day. I literally set up my sewing machine and was sitting there selling masks on his driveway, trying to get stuff done at the same time. It was kind of fun, though. We just hung out all day until it rained.
Did
Yeah.
CB rake in any cash?
Well, the Go made more money than my garage sale.
Oh, yeah. were you trying to sell, like, video games? What were you trying to sell?
And we had some video games, but then, like, a lot of kids' clothes. And it was mostly run by my wife and her friend. So it was basically my wife and her friend versus the Go. And
we won.
We soundly stomped them.
A garage sale during COVID sounds like that's a tough sale.
We wore masks every time a customer showed up.
Yeah,
so
but here, take these infected clothes.
I will openly say I was very surprised that almost every single person that came to the garage sale had a mask on, other than our delivery driver for food.
Oh yeah, our pizza delivery did not because he said he couldn't breathe with them, which, felt weird taking food from somebody that was not wearing a mask.
Also scientifically inaccurate.
Yeah. I'm not going to get into that.
That's not what. That part is science. There are other aspects.
I'm not saying it's not, but there are people out there that don't agree with science for some reason, and I'm not going down that rabbit hole.
All right, okay.
We'll discuss that one off air because I have Zach. You and I could go hours for this one.
All right. Yeah,
Probably.
Kansas City still not convinced masks are important. Although my boss is letting me throw people out that don't wear them though, so that's pretty dope.
Yeah, how does that go? Is it uncomfortable or does it feel good?
There was one older lady who was throwing a fuss, but she could throw as big a fuss as she wants. She's not going to get coffee.
Interesting. Anyway, speaking of the shop, I wanted to kind of just make a little bit of an announcement and let everybody know. Yes, we have been pushing those masks and everything, but I want to make sure everybody knows. Zach actually made me think about this today when we were talking over text. Just to be clear, any money that we make off of the sale of masks or 3D printed items or anything like that, none of that money is going into my pocket or CB's pocket or Zach's pocket or any of our pockets. We're putting it towards the Go. The idea is to put money towards R2V2 next year because we did not have an R2V2 this year. More than likely, we won't have one, although it's not official yet. So this is not something that is a money-making scheme for us. We are trying to make next year's R2V2 as awesome as possible. So keep that in mind. I don't want you guys to think we're selling out or anything. We're still doing the podcast, still doing reviews, all that, but trying to get involved with the community as much as possible, but also trying to make our next R2V2 as successful as possible and what people want. So just want to throw that out there. Also, We mentioned it last week, but we are officially able to be nominated for the podcast awards. We registered, and we need your guys' votes. So if you haven't already, please head over to our website. There's a link in the show notes for you that'll walk you through the instructions. It'll seriously take you like 30 or 45 seconds to nominate us. We need the nominations in order to get to be considered for the podcast award. And we are in the, is it toys and hobbies or games and hobbies? Games and hobbies.
Games and hobbies.
Categories. So, yeah, keep an eye out for that. We really need your votes because we want to win that. We've been nominated for the past, 3 or 4 years. We've never won. I would love to win that thing. I think we've got a good thing going on here, and it would help us get the word out there too. But let's go ahead and jump into the week's news. Got new trailers for Serious Sam 4, Nier Reincarnation on mobile. Those are the new trailers we saw this week. Also, Ubisoft had their pre-recorded stream called Ubisoft Forward yesterday. I did not get a chance to watch it live, but I know that Zach stayed up to date with it. We got box art for Spider-Man, Miles Morales, as well as Godfall on PS5, which also unveiled the new look for the box art. Sony invests $250 million into Epic Games for, quote, further collaboration. And Turok is coming to the PS4. Microsoft Flight Simulator gets a release date. And lastly, we've got, not even lastly, Ready Player 2 by Ernest Cline is going to be available for purchase on November 24th. And the PS5 might be revealed tonight or tomorrow with their price release. So who wants to start, and which story are you most interested in talking about?
Yo, Nier Reincarnation, right? Looks dope. I know you guys watched the trailer 4 or 5 times, very excitedly. You guys pumped?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing.
No, not pumped at all. I still haven't played Sino Alice.
That's okay.
I promised I would.
This is obviously more important. This is it's canon to Nier. Like this is essential information. This mobile game. It looks like it's gonna be a turn-based RPG. I spotted a number of characters from Nier and Drakengard in it, so that's pretty exciting. So I'm getting a lot of blank stares from you two, but I assure you, there's a section of the internet that is lit with excitement over this thing.
I'm more intrigued by it being a turn-based RPG instead of what we got in Nier Automata, because I liked the gameplay in Nier Automata at the beginning. It got old for me pretty quick though.
But Far Cry,
hard.
But you can play 19 Far Cries though.
Well, yeah, because that formula works for me.
Anyway, this game looks dope. I don't know when it's going to come out. I think it's coming out pretty soon in Japan. But Lord knows how long we'll have to wait in America for it.
3 years.
We're just getting an onslaught of Nier stuff recently, or at least Yoko Taro, between this, the remake of the original Nier, and Sino Alice. It's a lot of stuff coming out of there.
Well, Square Enix did say, that after Automata, they're like, we'll be pushing Nier. In the coming years, Nier will be one of our tentpole franchises. So expect them to just burn this thing into the ground unnecessarily. So
there's going to be a Nier card trading game. There's going to be a Nier, puzzle fighter.
I'm very much expecting to be the next Cloud Strife, where you just get she just pops up in everything, and they make 14 statues a year and 6 action figures a year of her unnecessarily.
A Nier kart racer.
Yeah. I wouldn't put it past them. Throw her as a guest character, some fighting game somewhere,
I can see that.
I could see that.
Well, she was already in Soul Calibur, wasn't she?
Jinx, you owe me a Coke.
Aw.
God, a Coke sounds so good right now.
Anyway, CB, anything on there interest you?
Something very near and dear to my heart.
It's near to your heart. I get it. We're about to talk about your reincarnation again.
Boo. Ready Player 2. Finally coming, man.
Yes.
Oh my God.
I did not look to see, because I don't really want to read the physical version. I prefer audiobooks. Do you know if the audiobook is dropping in the same day, or is that... No?
Audiobooks usually drop like a couple months afterwards.
That's a bummer.
Real? I always assumed they drop day and date. So I think the Star Wars ones do.
Well, bigger franchise. Hey, who knows? It could happen. All I know is I'm like so ready for this. I'm a little disappointed with the title, but
I mean,
It's on the nose.
It's
It is. I was really hoping he would do a sequel to Armada first, and then the Ready Player One sequel. I love
Armada was so good. Did you read that one, Zach?
No, nor have I read Ready Player One.
Read Armada. To me, Armada is the superior book of the two.
I think I liked the book Ready Player One better, but I think that Armada would make a better movie.
What if I did not like the movie Ready Player One?
The book was so much better.
Okay.
Leaps and bounds.
I did like the book better, but I mean, everybody says that about every book.
That's true.
There's
That's
also
very true, yes.
There's a lot of differences, like the puzzles feel more 80s centric instead of pop culture centric or whatever they did with the movie. I liked both the movie and the book, but I actually listened to the book twice, if that tells you anything.
The
I
movie to me was very bastardized of what the book was. The challenges were actually almost completely different than what was in the movie, which to me was very disappointing.
But you know that Ernest Cline also wrote the movie, so it's not like
I know, but
he played a part in writing it. He wasn't the sole writer.
No, he was definitely not the sole writer because if you ever listen to any of his interviews, he's very big on the 80s and 80s pop culture.
Yeah.
So
I mean, there's like a I don't know if I want to tell you what one of the puzzles is, but it's just such an 80s thing. It's really, really entertaining. Plus, the audiobook is read by Will Wheaton. Which
sure,
it's really good.
That guy takes a check.
Yeah. Well, he also did Armada, but Armada feels like the Last Starfighter, like the story of the Last Starfighter mixed with 80s pop culture.
Oh, okay, that sounds kind of cool.
It's really, really good. Like I might have liked that one better. I don't know, but I think that one would make a better movie.
My favorite part of the movie was when Spawn showed up for 1 to 2 frames.
And the Battletoads.
Yeah, I don't even remember them.
There were so many things. If you could go pause that final scene there and just find anything. That like one scene must have cost them just millions and millions of dollars.
Oh, I know there's a guy on YouTube that actually did a full like frame by frame breakdown of the movie, finding like every Easter egg he could.
I believe it.
So I'm really excited for this. I really cannot wait. I've actually read Ready Player One probably 5 or 6 times, and Armada almost 10.
Here's the funny thing. I don't even know how to. If this explanation is going to make sense, but to me, the movie felt too video gamey. I know that sounds like a stupid thing to say, but just with everything looking digitized and everything, which I understand that's what they're going for, but when you're reading the book, it never feels. It just feels like he's there. It doesn't feel like you're. There's not points, there's not coins to gather and things like that. I felt like they throw that in there to make it visually aesthetic or pleasing to gamers, but
right. Also, just turn it into an animated movie for the majority of its running time.
Right.
Yeah, it probably would have made a better TV series. But the other reason I'm excited is if you know anything about his books, there's an Easter egg hunt in the books themselves.
Did you find it in the first one?
I had to look it up, but the first, like Ready Player One, he gave away a DeLorean.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I
didn't know that.
I'm really excited to see this because I read Ready Player One like 6 months after it had come out the first time through. So like I will be there for release day on this one. So I'm kind of like, yes, this is going to be fun.
You're going to be playing it for whatever he's going to give away. Well, good luck to you, man. I can't believe I'm going to be the first to bring up Ubisoft Forward. I kind of figured that would be the hot topic. Again, I did not watch this live, but there was a lot of stuff, but not a whole lot of anything new. We didn't see anything that we either didn't know was coming or have already seen extensively. But the one that stood out for me for sure was Far Cry 6. That
trailer is so good.
I did like that trailer. We didn't get any gameplay.
I admit the Far Cry 6 trailer was excellent. Excellent.
Man, I just want to watch that dude read a phone book. Seriously.
Yeah, I would do it.
So the rumors floating around or the speculation that a lot of fans have is that kid in the trailer is actually Voss.
Let me tell you,
from Far Cry 3.
As somebody who is currently playing Far Cry 3, that doesn't line up with anything you learn about Voss.
Okay. Well, plus doesn't he refer to him by name?
Yeah,
Diego. Yeah, but
Diego,
names can change. But also, Diego's wearing modern day earbuds, which weren't even
right.
I don't even know if they were prevalent when Far Cry 3 came out, honestly. But more importantly, like, you learn all about Voss and his history with the tribal culture on the island and how he was groomed as a young man to be the next big warrior that now you're taking his place in the tribe. Like, it doesn't line up with any of Voss's backstory at all. So I feel like it's just people who played Far Cry 3 8 years ago, and they're like, hey, this kid has a scar, so does Voss. And then...
Yeah, there's a scar like in the same place on the eyebrow, right?
Right, which, 400 fictional characters have?
Right.
So I don't really... Settle
Regardless,
down.
I guess Far Cry 5 is an exception, but I felt like I didn't really play these games for their stories. I just played it for the open playground and clearing out those outposts because it's just a lot of fun.
I can't wait to talk to you later in the show then, is
Far
Cry 3. Far Cry 6 I think looks great. And I'll tell you what, I mean, my driving force to play this game is Giancarlo Esposito, so
yeah.
Good job hiring him, I suppose.
Yeah. He's
the worst kept secret, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The other thing that I'm actually excited about this is the fact that we have a semi-cemented date for Watch Dogs Legion.
Yeah, that'll change.
I know. October 29th, 2020.
Well, this was supposed to come out like March.
Wasn't it supposed to come out like last year?
I think that's also true, yes.
CB, I don't know how much you have looked into that game, because Zach and I played it at E3.
Well, you played it, jerk.
Oh, that's right. You had to go to another appointment, didn't you?
Yeah.
And that game, even just a little bit I played, just seems overly ambitious. Like how are they going to pull that off and carry that for that long of a game? If they can do it, is impressive. I want to see how they do it. It's insane. When they say you can play anybody, you can literally run up to any NPC and become that character. It's nuts. It's
the first time Clint Hocking, the director, is releasing a game since Far Cry 2.
Wow. So
that's significant.
I'm excited for it. I loved the story of Watch Dogs 1. I still haven't played 2. So and
do they hold up? Like, should I go back and play those?
Watch Dogs 1 isn't bad. Like I said, I haven't played 2 yet, so I enjoyed it.
I think 2 plays better. It's just kind of a weird story to get into because you're like a hacker kid who's pulling pranks, but then also you murder a bunch of people.
Well, that's weird.
So your objective is sneak into the Google headquarters, get to the mainframe so all their ads say, "Oh, I'm an evil guy," but then you also like kill employees to get there. So it's kind of a weird. It's the most I've ever experienced the pretentious term ludonarrative dissonance, where I was like, I do not feel lined up with the story of this game at all. I'm a hacker prankster, and also I'm 3D printing an assault rifle. What?
Yeah. How about Assassin's Creed Valhalla, though?
Well, I mean, you already know that I'm like over the moon for this game.
I think even Zach is sold on this game at this point.
It's funny you say that because I just watched the gameplay trailer, and you know what? They did a great job of making me convinced that I do not need to play this game.
Oh, really? Because I thought it looked more Souls-like in combat to me.
The combat reminded me a lot of Odyssey, which made me want to fall asleep when I played.
I will be playing it for sure.
I know
even
you both
and everything.
Will. I'm like really excited for it. Plus, I mean, come on, a new Assassin's Creed statue, man. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Their statues are so good, man.
They are good. They're no Last of Us Part 2 statue, but
so pretty.
Also, of course, we're getting a Battle Royale game from Ubisoft now, Hyperscape. Do you think this stands a chance to compete?
No.
I mean, I feel like Apex was hot for a minute, and I think obviously a lot of people still play it. I just think if Apex isn't gonna go toe to toe with I can't even think of that, Fortnite. I mean, anything else is.
If the conversation around PUBG has dried up this much, I just don't know what else is like. I don't think anyone else has a shot anymore.
I don't think so either.
People still do play PUBG. The one that to me that is completely dried up and I haven't heard as much about is the Call of Duty one, Warzone.
No, people are still playing Warzone like crazy.
Yeah, I feel like that's got the Call of Duty problem of everyone in the world plays it, but nobody talks about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's still pretty popular. But
no, I don't think Hyperscape. I think the art style looked kind of neat. At least it doesn't look exactly like Fortnite, like it feels like every free-to-play game does.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't
know, man.
But again, those games aren't for me. I'm not playing those multiplayer battle royales. I'm just not going to invest the time to get good at them. I'm bouncing around too many games to spend the time to get good, so I'm just not going to do it. But that's me. I know I'm in the minority of that because those games are insanely popular. What do you guys think of the box art for Spider-Man and Godfall? I know.
Wait, real quick. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Before we get off of Ubisoft, I have two things I need to say. One, I think it's now an open war against the Splinter Cell fan base. Yes. They keep putting Sam Fisher on everything but Splinter Cell. And at this point,
we knew that mobile game was happening already, didn't we?
Yes, but they need to remind me. It feels openly antagonistic towards the fan base.
Haven't they been talking about that mobile game forever too?
I think they announced the last E3. Yeah.
Yeah. June of last year.
Yeah.
So a year ago.
For
weird.
Yeah, for a mobile game to be in development that long seems bizarre.
I mean, mobile games feel like that genre where you should just be like, and it's out now. Do that Fallout Shelter business. And then also, secondly, did this just feel a little like gross to anybody? This whole presentation?
Well, again, I didn't watch it. I just kind of saw the highlights because I was working.
I meant because you just fired 4 of your high-level executives and half your HR team because of sexual impropriety. And then you just you just put out this thing. It's like, please be distracted with our marketing efforts. Please.
Well, there was a thing they tweeted out beforehand saying, hey, this is pre-recorded and blah, 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 and we're still going to do it.
Well, they're like, we don't have to. Well, they specifically said they didn't have time to record anything to speak against the allegations.
I don't know. I shy clear of conversations like that mostly because I just don't know. I don't know what's... I feel like none of us are going to actually know what's going on and what was right, what was wrong, what was... But yeah, I understand what you're saying.
It felt like a weird time to say, please praise Ubisoft. It really felt like we're just going to go ahead and throw up the smoke screen, and you're all going to.
So, what would have been a good time frame? What would it
delay the presentation?
No, I understand that. I'm saying like how long to delay it? What's the statute of limitation? Long
enough to, if you really care enough to put in a message, you could delay it long enough to put in a message, I guess. But from the marketing point, why would you? Because most people don't know about the fact that your executives are sexually harassing everybody. So why would you call attention to that? I get that. And I get that that's why there is not a thing in front of it. Not the excuse of we didn't have time.
Well, I kind of agree with that too, because when you look at the release dates for their games, none of them are within the next couple months. So I feel that they had time.
They could have delayed it.
Yeah, even a week, just so it doesn't look so obviously like you're distracting everybody from... Because now the news story... Now when you Google Ubisoft, you're not seeing the sexual harassment thing anymore. You're seeing Far Cry 6.
Yeah, because that stuff just happened like this past week, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so you're like, it's so obviously shifting the narrative.
And these people that are no longer with the company are, not just low-level managers. We're talking top executives. And
I mean, freaking Yaz Milat is out. He is the reason Prince of Persia Sands of Time trilogy happened.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
And there's a lot of that going around in the industry. It's awful.
Yes.
And I'm stuck as the consumer, wondering,
Right.
what can I do to help? All I can really do is
buy your game.
Is speak with my dollars or not.
I know. Normally, I don't talk about we don't talk about this stuff kind of normally on the show, and I also just try to avoid it because it's not fun. But this just felt like such an egregious case of we just fired all of our executive team. Here's a bunch of trailers.
Do you think that's how it went down? Like this was the distraction, and not like this was planned already before stuff came out? I'm
sure it was planned, but allowing it to go up is 100% a distraction. Yes.
Okay.
Well, not only that, just convenient timing. Because you fire everybody, and then a week later, look at the bright
not
shiny.
Even. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Well, that was let go on Friday, and then on Sunday they put up a trailer of all of their hot new exclusives or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So sweep it under the rug as fast as possible.
Yes, as it's hard to ignore the A to B on that.
I understand, and I want you guys to understand too. I'm not trying to downplay those allegations or justify that or anything like that. Those conversations make me feel uncomfortable, as they should.
Right.
And
I'm just letting our listeners know I don't usually bring this stuff up to be a down. It was just so especially egregious.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I didn't really think of it to that level until you brought it up, so I'm glad you did say something, because I don't know. I don't know what to do then. What do we do? I really want to play Far Cry 6, but is it kind of my responsibility to not? Because
that's where it gets tricky, right? Because it's not the artists and the coders and the writers' fault.
Right.
That the person who greenlit your game is a slime bag.
Mm-hmm.
So that is tricky.
I
mean, they're not going to profit off of the game anymore, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's also true.
So
I'm here to praise the people that actually made the game.
Right. That's what I want to do too.
I mean, I guess the trickiest one would be Valhalla, because it is that guy's game. But his also was just he cheated on his wife. I don't really agree with him being fired anyway, so that's my 2 cents.
He got fired for cheating on his wife?
He was asked to resign.
What does that have to do with his career? I mean, I'm not saying that's a good thing to do, but
I don't understand how the president... I mean, the times are changing, I guess. It's just, that felt like a case of well, he's an asshole, but I don't see how that affects his game development.
Huh. I have thoughts.
Yeah.
I don't know. That just doesn't seem like he didn't do... I mean, I guess technically he did do something illegal. If you're going to go down to the letter of the law, that's illegal.
Adultery still a crime?
Technically, I mean...
Oh, man. That's crazy.
Not necessarily a crime. It's a what it boils down to is it's a breach of contract.
Jesus, that's the most American way of putting that.
Well, when you think about it, you're entering into a legally binding contract,
right?
And
we're getting off course here, aren't we?
Yes, we are. Let's move on, man. This is getting into a rabbit hole that I'm like, this is.
Let's do a Patreon episode about how cheating on your wife should not get you fired.
So how about that PS5 box art?
It looks unfinished.
Thank you. It looks like one of the placeholder ones when a game goes on Amazon before the real box art releases.
Sorry, that's funny because it's accurate.
That's what it looks like.
Okay, it looks like
I'm going to say this real quick about this. The art itself looks good. The blue with the
Miles
white
Morales art, especially. Oh my god,
the blue with the white looks bad.
White is always hard to pull off because it's the default color. I think if I turn this into my Photoshop class in high school, there's no way I'm getting anything higher than a B-.
Yeah,
I would agree with you.
Because the teacher would say, "Well, you have all this you didn't use 1/6 of the space." I can't ignore the fact that you just didn't fill that in. You know?
Well, I understand that they have to do something to make the PS5 boxes stand apart from the PS4 boxes.
You say that, but remember, if you remember at the very tail end of the PS3, they started doing the blue hue on PS3 games to make them look like PS4 games.
Right, but the box sizes were so different.
Oh, and I guess like, and the cases themselves were clear.
Right.
Have you seen the mock-ups of? Have you seen the mock-ups of people doing black cases with this?
It looks so much better.
Immediately looks better. Still looks like an unfinished high school project to me, but it does look immediately better.
It looks much better if you just swap out that white with black, and then what they make white letters or for the PlayStation logo and the PS5 letters and numbers.
I don't get why they didn't just stick with the blue banner.
Blue would have even been better than white.
It's just much like the PS5 color scheme. It just looks like it just screams change for the sake of change.
Yeah,
I mean, I think brown would have looked better than the white.
Brown?
Any color better than white.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the fact that Xbox One discs are on the left side when you open the case instead of the right side. And when you open it, you're like, there's literally no reason for this other than to say we are different.
I forgot that until you just mentioned that because I haven't bought a physical game that I've... Oh, no, I bought Borderlands, so I have done that, but...
There's a really easy way to fix that. You flip the art.
Just flip it around.
But then it doesn't have like a little header on the top for Xbox One?
It does, but when I'm looking at it from the spine, it's fine.
Okay. But yeah, it looks bad. I mean, ultimately it doesn't matter. Like you open the disc, you put it in your console. It's just kind of disappointing to see what their art team's cooking up for PS5.
Well, here's my biggest takeaway from this. So I took multiple photography and art design classes in college. Mm-hmm. Your eye is always drawn to the brightest spot in a photo first. Like, that's what we're taught. And so, like, the first thing that my eye is drawn to on these is just the top of it. And I'm like, it's so glaringly white that I'm like, it hurts my eyes, actually.
Well, they want you to see that it's PS5, not PS4. So maybe that is part of it.
Understandable. But it's so glaringly white. When I look at it, I'm like, I don't like this, and I want to put it down. You remember with the PSP cases, it was silver.
Yeah, which looked cool.
It looked good, and it was actually aesthetically pleasing.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that they went with that just, like, super bright white, like, is actually off-putting to me.
Do you think there's any chance that this isn't the final mock-up and they kind of threw it out there to get to see what people thought?
I hope it isn't the final.
Because there's still time, right?
I mean, I haven't seen one positive thing about this from anybody.
Nope. Nobody said, hey, that looks really good. I mean, other than like the art for the game itself looks really cool. Although I'd say Godfall is kind of generic, to be honest.
Yeah, Godfall looks lame,
but Spider-Man I'm happy with, which, I mean, it's simple, but it's effective.
Yeah,
right.
But again, art composition, like, I want to look at the box art. The fact that my eyes are drawn to that banner just, it takes away from what you're trying to put on the box.
It just looks cheap, man.
It does look cheap.
It really does. Now you're asking $10 more?
When I look at that...
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
When I look at that and you talk about how it looks cheap, to me it feels like those aftermarket DVD cases that are made with like the cheaper plastic.
It's like it's like buying a Hollywood video case.
But not only that, like, rather than actually having the full back plastic, it's got like the cutouts. So it's not even like a full piece of plastic. Like when you pick it up,
like when we used to work at TNT and we get a game in for trade that didn't have the case in it, so we like scan it off the internet and stick it inside a sleeve and put it on the shelf.
But have you ever picked up like budget Xbox or not so much PlayStation, because I don't think they ever did it. But there's been a couple companies that they put out the indie titles though. And rather than use the full DVD case, they use the one that has all the cutouts. So when you squeeze it, like, your finger crinkles the artwork, and over time, like, you actually notice how it like has molded into the plastic that way.
Right.
That, to me, that's kind of what those cases look like.
Well, let's go ahead and move on. We've talked about box art for quite a bit here. As a reminder, everybody, we are an independently funded podcast, which means we must pay for our podcast hosting services website all on our own, which is why we have a Patreon where fans can contribute money to help offset the cost of production, as well as give back to the community. So if you'd like to help out, you can do so at patreon.com/thegocast. And as a thank you, we do offer you some additional perks, including some bonus episodes for our $3 and $5 tiers. You get one for $3 tier and two for the $5 tier. CB, what can people listen to over on Patreon right now?
Most recently still our Break the Seal episode for the Uncharted series and our spoiler cast of The Last of Us 2. Also, I know for a fact that we are recording our Dirty Games episode this week. So
yes, tomorrow, I believe, aren't we?
Yes. So
that should be
it'll be weird.
That should be an interesting
weird
conversation.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it, though, because Christina played some old school games that shocked her that they were actually on a console at one point. They're kind of crazy. Anyway, again, that site is patreon.com/thegocast, and we do appreciate any help that you can throw our way. Let's go ahead now and jump into the games we've actually been playing. Zach, anything new coming out next week?
Yeah, man. I mean, let's run it down. Neon Abyss coming to PS4, Xbox One, Switch, PC, July 14th. EA puts out their next Battle Royale game, Rocket Arena, PS4, Xbox One, and PC, July 14th. You might be confused by that one because it looks like it's just the exact art style of Fortnite.
It does.
It's absurd. Blitz exits early access, coming on Xbox One and PC, July 15th. Beyond the Steel Sky, which is a sequel to a 1998 point-and-click game, coming to PC and Mac on July 16th. I think it's already out on Apple Arcade. And the Radical Rabbit Stew, which you would not expect to be a puzzle game based on that name, but that comes out PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC July 16th. Super Hot gets surprise free DLC release with Mind Control Delete on PS4, Xbox One, PC, and Mac July 16th. I think we're all excited about that one. Ghosts of Tsushima finally released on PS4 July 17th. And Paper Mario The Origami King comes out on Switch that same day. What y'all picking up?
Well, aside from Super Hot Mind Control Delete, Ghosts of Tsushima.
Yes, definitely.
I pre-ordered it today. But that's going to be the second game I'm going to jump into because I am going to be playing Paper Mario The Origami King for review. I want to play that game very badly. So, in fact, we're giving away a copy of that game for this month's giveaway. I picked it up to play, and then we're going to give away that copy to the community. So, you think we should do like the little key phrase or whatever for the giveaway? Like, use this key phrase to be entered into the drawing? Should we do that again?
Sure. Of course, but not yet.
Oh, not yet?
I don't know. I mean, it's not even out yet, man.
Well, it's out Friday. It'll be out 2 days after this episode drops.
You think you're going to get through an RPG that quick?
No. We put in there that you will be sent the game after I finish it.
Oh, okay.
But that way, we like to do the drawing early enough that people can make a decision about whether to buy it or not.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Right. So the passphrase is
Taco Bell.
Bowsette.
Okay. So the passphrase is Taco Bell. So if you are listening to this episode,
you don't want to use Bowsette?
I don't have a problem using Taco Bell. That'll stand out. Okay. 2 words: Taco space Bell. There will be a Google form by the time this episode airs. I will have a Google form available for you, and you will need the passphrase Taco Bell in order to be able to be entered into the drawing for episode 303. So
you can send along a link to the sauciest Bowsette art you can find as well.
Oh my god. Oh my god, they're gonna do it now too, man. You know that.
That's what I'm counting on, man.
A name. There's gonna be a link to some swanky Bowsette art.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go ahead. We didn't play much new this week. It's been a very busy week for all of us, but I did sit down and talk to Nate about Darius Cosmic Collection that he played on Switch, so we're going to play that for you real quick before we get into the games that we've been catching up on. Well, hey there, Nate. How you doing, man?
Hey, Scott, I'm doing good. How about you?
Doing all right. I am here to talk to you about a couple games you've been playing for us called Darius Cosmic Collection. 2 different games. One is an arcade version, one is the console version. And this comes from developer Taito. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Taito? I think so. Taito.
I don't know, the Bubble people, right? That's all we got to know. And we got to give a shout out to PR Han for hooking you up with the both of the codes for these games.
Yeah, thank you.
So for people that aren't familiar with the Darius series, however you want to pronounce it, can you explain to people what these games are?
So the Darius games are essentially a horizontal shooter, very close to like a Salamander or Life Force, and it's a horizontal shooter. I mean, it's pretty basic. You have different endings and stuff like that, but for all intents and purposes, it's some of the most iconic horizontal shooters ever made.
Okay. Now there's 2 collections, one console and one arcade. What's the difference between the 2?
Just that one is arcade, and it kind of plays through the different arcade versions of the game, both in the normal fashion, like Darius and Darius 2. You also had Sagaya 1 and 2 and Darius Gaiden, whereas the console versions were the more obtainable copies of the game. Those are going to be obviously your console releases, like on Sega Genesis, Master System, Famicom, Super NES. And they have a couple different versions from each on there, both in the arcade collection and the console version. The difference is they may be European releases where you saw a couple different stages or some different kind of skins or some different color schemes. They had subtle differences in them, so you might not need to play through the other editions of the game, but it's cool to see what was different between what got released here in the States and what got released overseas.
So I assume that people that play shmups are very familiar with this series. This is a popular series, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So how does the translation work from the older versions to you played on Switch, correct?
I played on Switch.
How did that translate over?
They're very crisp. I remember playing it on Nintendo back in the day, and it kind of had a fuzzy type feeling. I don't know if that makes sense, or a squishy type control scheme, and it seems like they tightened it up a little bit, and it plays on par between the arcade version and the console version. The arcade versions, like their counterparts, their physical counterparts, do play a little bit faster, and that's just how arcade is. If you're playing both of these, typically shooters are better on arcade than they are on console, but more people play that on consoles because they're obtainable.
Okay. And I've been hearing a lot of people talk about the prices, because even I kind of balked at it when I saw how high they were. But I want to know, from someone that's actually played it, do you think that they are worth the price tag that they're asking for them?
I do. If you only have budget for one of these titles, what I would recommend is picking up the console collection. I think you get a better bang for your buck. It is the more expensive of the 2, but I think you have more variety in the game selection than you do the arcade. I definitely enjoyed the arcade for what it was. It was definitely a little bit faster paced. It seemed like it had that arcade type feel to it, but I think it's worth it. You get a good chunk of games here for, I think it's $50, $55. Yeah, I think it was definitely worth it. All right. If you like shooters at all, like horizontal shooters, give it a try.
Sounds great. Again, that is the Darius Cosmic Collection, both console and arcade versions. Nate, thanks so much for stopping by to talk to us about it.
Anytime. See ya.
All right, we'll catch you later. All right, thank you, Nate. CB, you finished Superliminal this week, yes?
Yes, I did.
How was it?
Starts off great, ends kind of mediocre.
Oh, no.
But it does have a really good message at the end.
Really?
You were jazzed for this game, right?
Yeah, you sold me on it.
I still, don't get me wrong, still love this game. The puzzles are fun. There's like 1 or 2 that you really have to think about how to solve. But they're not so overly complicated that you need to like look up a guide online, which is, I think is a great thing for these types of games, that just given a few minutes, you can kind of figure out the puzzle. It's just my biggest problem is the puzzles toward the end started to feel like this game was rushed a little.
Oh, really?
So there wasn't as much thought for some of the puzzles near the end, but there's the final chapter has a wonderful little monologue that tells a great message for this game. And I was,
without spoiling it, can you allude to it at all? Like, I'm curious what kind of message a puzzle game like that could have.
About how some things, the narrator goes into a very great depth and detail about how life can be hard, and you'll be presented with struggles or challenges in your life, and you need to think outside the box on how to get through some of them and solve them. Okay.
I like it. That makes me really want to see it through to the end. Is it worth it? I know you said it gets kind of mediocre, but
I still had fun with it. I wish I could remember the price of this game. I think it's it's less than $40. Replayability though, I don't feel is there.
Oh, I mean, because I love to go back and play like the Portal games again.
Yeah. Whereas the Portal games, like a lot of the puzzles have some of them have like different ways to solve them or different things to find. This game is like once you know how to beat the puzzle, you will always know how to beat the puzzle.
Oh, it's not like you got to like rediscover it.
No.
Okay. And that game it's normally $20. It's on sale for $15.99 right now.
Yeah, $15.99 is like a great price for this game.
Okay.
So
I'm still intrigued. I would like to check that out. Maybe I'll do that this week and actually play some games instead of sitting in my sweatshop all week. Anything else you've been playing besides that?
Cutie Booty Delivery Duty.
Hideo Kojima's
some people have
Cutie Booty Delivery Duty.
Yeah, for people that don't know what Cutie Booty Delivery Duty is,
it's Death Stranding.
Death Stranding, yes. Are you digging it? Because you were kind of lukewarm on it at launch.
It's still bizarre. Yes.
Yep, it's definitely weird.
Yeah, I mean it's super weird. I mean, it's definitely growing. What did they patch out the monster cans?
I don't know what that means. Oh yeah, no, they did because they lost there was only like a limited time thing, so the monster cans aren't in there anymore. I remember reading that.
Yeah, because I was sitting in the like your little like room, and I'm like, where the hell are the monster cans?
Yeah,
that's weird.
I think that was a limited run thing.
The monsters, they were everywhere.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm playing through it. I'm giving it a trying to give it a fair shake. Play it some more. Luckily, I've discovered vehicles, so you don't have to walk as much.
Sure.
Does it make it a little more enjoyable?
No.
What?
Really?
That aspect of the game, like, it's boring, it's repetitive. The story is bizarre, and I just want to skip to the story parts.
Well, I could just watch it on YouTube then. Can I just do that?
Yeah, but I want to play through it. Like I have to experience it because though there are all the cinematic cutscenes, there's a lot of dialogue in between that sometimes fills in the gaps.
I know what you mean because I went back in preparation for Last of Us Part 2. I rewatched Last of Us Part 1 on YouTube and just watched those, and I felt like it didn't have the same impact, even though I already knew the same story and had gone through that adventure, so to speak, with those characters. I missed all of that dialogue in between, like Ellie's telling her jokes and things like that. So you're saying this is kind of the same thing with Death Stranding?
It's a video game,
Right.
I feel like you just connect more with the story and the world when you're walking through it.
Well, especially when you're playing it.
Yeah, that's what
too.
I'm saying.
Like you feel ownership, yeah.
Like I've never felt the same way about a game watching the cutscenes as I have playing it.
Plus, I do still like finding the weird random things that occur in that world. Like random tall necks just walking around, which
from Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah, you're just driving along, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh look, a tall neck. What is going on?
And none of that gets explained, right? Zach, like there's no resolution to what the world is or anything.
Wait, like the world, like you do.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
I mean, all the weird Horizon references and stuff aren't explained, but that's just Kojima crack.
Okay, but I definitely want to see this story to the end because it is so bizarre.
Specifically,
how far into it are you?
I think you learn about the state of the world via like a 60-minute cutscene. So get ready for that.
Okay, I'm about halfway currently, I believe. So
60-minute cutscene. Could you imagine all the mocap recording there had to have been done for this? You
say that, but Norman Reedus says like 4 things in that cutscene, so he probably didn't even need to be there. And then also, it's just a dude walking.
Still, that's just nuts. Anyway,
I can't imagine.
I'd be curious to hear your thoughts when you finish it.
Trying to memorize 60 minutes worth of dialogue about just exposition.
Yeah.
Well, it'll get.
I can't imagine memorizing stuff anyway. I'm terrible at memorizing, unless it's like a song. I can sing it.
How does a bastard orphan son of a...
Dude, don't even get me started on Hamilton. Oh my god. I seriously watched it 2.5 times today. I just have it on in the background while I'm working.
Yeah,
I am obsessed.
I constantly have the soundtrack playing as well.
I'm surprised because you're not a big music guy and you still really like it.
No, I'm not a musical dude at all, and I adore this thing. It is like I'm obsessed with the founding of America history. Like that's my jam.
Uh-huh.
You know, that's the reason Assassin's Creed 3 is my favorite. But it is also just like it's all like hip hop and rap and stuff. Like I have the weird thing, and I know it's really rare. I guess it's probably gonna make you sound. It'll help you explain why I don't like music. Like I can't understand lyrics.
Right?
Like spoken word, like I have to look up the lyrics if I'm gonna understand it, but I never had that problem with rap.
Huh.
So it's just more enjoyable to me. Same thing with classic rock is just because it's not as vocally intensive. You know, they're not really exploring the range the same way.
Sure.
So like those are the genres that I've kind of always gravitated towards. So this is I know it's like a super lame thing to say because it's the most popular musical in the world, but it really feels like a musical made for people like me, which is great.
It's so good. I've actually watched it the first time I watched it because I've been listening to the soundtrack. I'm just the opposite. The lyrics go by so quick, I have a hard time keeping up. So I've been listening to the soundtrack before it dropped on Disney Plus. So I've actually able to watch it, which is just a stage presentation. This has nothing to do with video games, but I don't care. I'm obsessed with this play.
I love it, man.
And I turned on the subtitles and was watching it with the subtitles the first time I watched it before everybody started recommending it. Because I wanted to understand the history of this. And man, just the rhymes and everything just rolls so well.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love it. And then I'll be, even if I'm not watching it, I'll randomly be sitting around. I go, da 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 da. That song is so catchy.
I mean, it is. The Room Where It Happens is my favorite song, I think.
Which one?
The Room Where It Happens.
I don't know them by name.
The Room Where It Happens. The Room Where It Happens.
Oh, The Room Where It Happens. Yeah. That whole story is fascinating too. You just, if we could have learned history that way when we were kids, I would have been a lot more interested.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
I legitimately want to go read the book that Lin-Manuel Miranda read, where he went, "This needs to be a rap musical or a hip hop musical."
Well, I mean,
because I want to learn all the other stuff that wasn't in there.
They did try teaching with music. It's called Schoolhouse Rock.
Also on Disney Plus.
Yes. Conjunction. What's your function?
I knew probably 90% of the history, but even I learned new. So I didn't know how much to know 51 of the Federalist Papers. That's insane.
And that line, the way Leslie Odom Jr. delivers it, just so powerful. Hamilton wrote the other 51. It was just so cool.
That's just to me is oh, Hamilton is the reason America exists. Then,
right?
That's crazy.
And Hamilton's the reason Thomas Jefferson was president as well.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Nuts. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, anyway, so I've been playing Far Cry 3.
Yeah,
you
texted me. You texted me to say, Scott, I'm at work thinking about Far Cry 3, which got me excited.
Right. Well,
because it sounds like you're thinking about it and want to be playing it, but the look in your face tells me maybe otherwise.
Well, I say specifically, I texted you, said, I can't tell if I like it or hate it, but I cannot stop thinking about Far Cry 3.
Okay.
And I'll just jump right into that. The gameplay loop in this game is indeed addictive.
Right? Now you feel where I'm coming from.
Which is definitely the intent. It is definitely... it helps that I don't play many of the modern Ubisoft games, because they all seem to follow this formula. Mm-hmm. So, to me, it's relatively fresh. And it's a lot of fun. Even, it's nice because the crafting is there, but it's so simplified. It's like 2 deer hide, and that's all you need.
Right. So,
and I see a deer, and I'm like, well, I'm just going to hunt deer for the next 40 minutes because, I have these 8 different things to upgrade or whatever. And then as soon as I'm done with that, I'm like, oh, I guess I should go do that mission now, the story mission. Then I'm driving over in there, I'm like, oh, there's so many mercenaries, it's kind of annoying. I guess I'll clear out an outpost or 2. So then there's another hour gone. And I'm like, I'm getting tired of the mini-map's not working. I'll just go do the radio towers in this area, I guess. And then I'm 3 radio towers later, I'm like, shit, did I just waste another hour? It's just, man, that game has a tremendous game flow.
Wait until you later on you have to kill 2 rhinoceros to make a wallet.
Right? Yeah,
makes no sense.
I've had to kill 2 sharks for a gun holster, which does not make sense. Although it is weirdly fun sniping sharks from the bay.
Right.
I really want you to play 5 now.
5. I learned 5 has a silent protagonist, and that disappointed me greatly.
I don't know if
that's not a good sign.
I don't know if I would call him a silent protagonist.
He speaks with guns.
Sure.
I almost want to tell you to stop playing 3 and start 5.
I don't think I could do that because Voss is good. Voss's reputation precedes him, and he lives up to it.
Also, there's one moment you have to see in that game, which is the main mission, and CB knows what I'm talking about.
I never played 3.
You didn't play 3? Oh, never mind. There's a moment that is musically charged. That's all I'll say.
Is it when you burn the field?
Oh yes.
I haven't gotten there, but everybody talked about that mission in 2012.
Okay.
So I didn't know.
It won't have as much of an impact because you're ready for it, but I had no idea it was coming when I did it.
I will say the most 2012 this game felt was you had a turret mission when you say you save your girlfriend who is held hostage, and then a dubstep track starts kicking in, and I'm like, this is the most 2012 shit ever. There's no greater example, because dubstep was in every game around then. All the Saints Row games and stuff. Syndicate, you remember Syndicate?
Yep, I remember Syndicate.
But I think this game is really cool in that even the story, which I know you said you don't play these games for the story, but your character Jason's descent into enjoying the violence more and more, and his friends kind of are like, "Hey, dude, are you okay?" Because you kill 9 people with a grenade launcher, and they're like, "Oh my god, we survived!" And Jason's like, "Yeah, those mother effers got it. That's what's up." And they're all his friends are like, "Dude, what? You just killed 9 people." And that's kind of cool. And it's kind of neat. I can't tell if this is something the game plays into or if it's just some weird subtext I'm playing in. Because I feel like Brody's getting almost used by all these people. In that...
Man, it's been so long I don't even remember who Brody is.
That's your main character, Jason Brody.
That's his... I'm sorry. I thought you were saying Brody was a first name.
Oh, no.
It's been that long.
Jason Brody, all these people are using him to their ends, and he's just so... He's so malleable that he just is like, yeah, sure, I'll go kill those 6 people for some mushrooms.
Yeah.
But the narrative seems aware of it in an interesting way. So I know you don't say you play for the story, but I'm actually pretty intrigued.
I'm not saying that I didn't enjoy the story. It didn't stand out to me. Obviously, I didn't remember the character's name, but it was more for like hearing him over the radio. That he always was that voice that was talking to you whenever you did something, and you always kind of looked forward to hearing him either ribbing you or getting annoyed that you were doing, you were blowing up his.
Are you talking about Voss?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know he talked. I'm only like 8 missions in, so that hasn't.
Oh, maybe it wasn't. Because I know it was in 4 for sure, but I thought Voss talked to you as well. But
no, yeah, he's like jealous of the fact that the tribe that kicked him out is accepting you, which is kind of cool. He's almost jealous that you are fulfilling the role he was destined for that he had screwed up. It's kind of a neat little parallel with your character.
Well, as good as 4 is, I think you should go to 5 next.
I think I'm just gonna. I mean, because I get so fatigued with these open world games, I'm probably just gonna wait for 6.
Oh,
dude, you need to play 5. I can't tell you why, but you need to play 5.
5. The villain is just so well written,
and you will appreciate the ending more than most.
You know, I don't like silent protagonists, though. You think it still works?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I see what you're talking about. Where your character doesn't talk. Yeah, that. I didn't even remember that Jason spoke in Far Cry 3.
Now, does your character in 4 talk, or do they just shift to silent protagonist?
Again, I don't remember.
Oh, okay. You really are in it for the game. You really are in it for the checklist, aren't you?
I am, and that's like. And Far Cry 3 is the first one I played in the series. I never played the original or 2. I heard 2 is the one that had like malaria or something. It was frustrating.
I love the boy. I love 2. 2's great. That was Clint Hawkins' last game. But what I really love, because I also really love the first Far Cry, and then Far Cry 2 is so different, and then Far Cry 3 is so different as well, that it's almost a little bit of a bummer that 4 and 5 are so similar.
I'm sure 6 will be as well.
It's okay.
Yes, and Primal and New Dawn and
Primal was my first one.
Interesting.
That's a weird place to start at.
I was gifted Primal, and I never actually played it, so
it's fun. It's interesting. It's just strange going, trying to clear out outposts without a sniper rifle. Because that was my go-to weapon in those games, was just trying to snipe everything out without being seen. That was my favorite thing to do. I loved it. I
appreciate it because I always like to get in there and stab people. I appreciate that's pretty difficult to pull off in this game.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of neat. Yeah, so I'll have more Far Cry to talk about. I know it's an 8-year-old game, but it's more fun than I thought it was going to be. But I don't think I can finish this game and then jump right into 5 right afterwards.
That's fair. I mean, it's the same thing.
Exactly,
in reality. Although it would be interesting to see how different it is, especially jumping from 3 to 5, just to see if it is the same.
I was watching some gameplay clips of 4 and 5 just because now my curiosity peaked, and they looked remarkably the same game.
Mm-hmm.
I just want you to play like the first 2 hours of 5.
Okay.
Just to get a feel for the villain and see if you get sucked in.
The disgusting seed. That's such a gross name.
Call the herd. It's great. All right. Well, yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing more about that. You're making me want to go back and play it. I would play a remastered version of Far Cry 3 in a heartbeat.
That's what I'm playing.
It's remastered?
Yeah.
When did that happen?
I couldn't tell you when it happened, but I have Far Cry 3 on PS4 remastered edition.
I think it was like 2 years ago.
How did I miss that?
It was probably like a collector's edition or pre-order bonus for 5 or something.
It's not just like the 360 version that they like upscaled or whatever. Because I'm talking, I want new achievements and everything.
I mean, it's definitely a new trophy list. It's got all the DLC and everything, all the pre-order bonuses.
Okay, I may be making a purchase this week.
Yeah,
just saying.
I think I got it for $10. It was pretty good. I think it's on sale, actually.
Yeah, it's fairly cheap.
I will be looking into that. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on. That's a lot of talk about me being surprised a game exists that I didn't know. It makes me feel like a bad gamer that I didn't know existed.
I mean, you were distracted with Far Cry 4 and 5. You played the new things.
Actually, what I should do is go back and play Saints Row the Third remaster, because I've actually never played that game all the way through. And I just hear
that's a ridiculous good time. I do. You know what? I am very intrigued in New Dawn now. How about that?
See, I didn't like New Dawn.
Yeah,
but you can't play New Dawn until you finish.
I understand. I've been told this. Yes, by you several times.
All right, some quick housekeeping. We got some new Facebook members to say hello to, which, by the way, our Facebook group is facebook.com/groups/the GoCast. New members include Alyssa Boyd, Demetrius Lessig, and Kim Berg. Welcome to the community. Also, we've got one new Discord member, goes by the name of Jeragorn. If you'd like to join the community over there, the link is in the show notes, and we would appreciate it. Also, our website, thegamingoutsiders.com, is where we keep all of our episodes, as well as all of our written reviews. Speaking of, we got 3 new reviews this week, including Hunting Simulator 2, which was completed by Spencer, as well as Hard Space Shipbreaker, also completed by Spencer, and he talked about those games last week. And then thirdly, Josh reviewed Super Ball Ache for us, which is a Oculus game that he played. Very frustrating, but he still really, really liked it, so check that out on the site. With that, let's jump into our From the Outside In topic. So we missed community questions last week, so we're doing them this episode instead. That was my bad. I had a really awesome suggestion last week, and I wanted to run with it instead of doing community questions. So for those of you joining us for the first time, what we'd like to do is ask the community once a month for questions for us to answer and discuss on the show. We posted a request on Facebook, Twitter, and Discord, and we're going to answer those questions right now. Starting over on Facebook, Josh Steima, Hunger Games style tournament between all the hosts, editors, and any other contributors to the Go. Who wins and why? CB?
I'm answering this one last.
Okay. Zach?
Oh, man. Boy, this is a loaded question, Josh. I mean, how do I not just say me? Right,
why you?
I'm gonna murder you all. I'm gonna check my remorse at the beginning of the tournament. I'm sorry,
check
guys.
your remorse.
I will not allow myself to have guilt or remorse until the deed is done.
I'm
going to put aside my feelings.
Do you really feel your skill set is up to par, though?
I don't know. I mean, like, honestly, I want to throw Nate in here as an underdog. Because he's so reserved, Nate. I'm worried that maybe he has some skills I'm not aware of.
Specific set of skills.
Like, maybe he's got, I don't know, he's got a crossbow in the basement or something that he's been practicing with. Like, I don't know. Something about that guy seems dangerous to me.
I'm going to straight up say CB, just for the sake of sheer resources. How many times have you mentioned on the show, hey CB, do you have one of these? And his answer is always, oh yeah, I got one of those. Do you have a forge that we can melt aluminum in? Oh yeah, I got one of those. Do you have a...
That is true. He's very multi-talented, this guy.
Yeah, he's got lots of abilities, lots of stuff. More than likely, he's going to have something. He's going to have the weapons.
He can't bring his stuff in with him.
No, but he's going to know. He can craft them.
Think so?
He's played a lot of video games. He's got a lot of He knows a good amount of a lot of things. It will definitely not be me. I'll probably just surrender at the beginning.
Scott, I love you, but it's not going to be you, man.
Oh yeah,
No.
I totally know it's not going to be me.
Yeah.
My money would probably be on either myself or Spencer.
Yeah,
Spencer was in the military.
Oh wait, I didn't know Spencer that well.
Yeah, so I mean, if it was between the three of us, I'm sorry, you both are going down.
Oh, I know where to send my answer and say Spencer. You know what? I still don't trust Nate.
Honestly, it'd probably be a team up between me, Spencer, and Nate, and then we'll duke it out in the end.
Yeah.
So
I still say, yeah, and I don't even know between Spencer and you. Probably Spencer. He can hide in the woods better than you.
Oh yeah, he's got hunting experience too.
Yeah,
we both do.
Yeah, well, I read his review for Hunting Simulator, so I guess I'm more familiar.
Next one comes from Sean Coates. He said, what is one thing you're expecting from and or excited about in the next generation of consoles that you can't get with current gen?
VR playability, hopefully on Xbox.
That's not going to happen. Not for a while.
I'm hoping. It says
You're hoping it's not going to happen.
Well, I'm excited about the possibility of it.
Okay.
As far as that, honestly, between this generation and next generation, it's like, ooh, faster load times, polished.
If I hear that, if I hear faster loading times or ray tracing one more time,
yeah,
I want to break both these consoles with a sledgehammer.
I'm excited by the possibility of new IPs.
Okay. Zach, how about you?
I mean, that's not a bad answer, CB. It feels a little like a cop-out, but I don't blame you. Because none of the stuff they're talking about is really, like, setting anybody's world on fire.
Well, it feels like the same argument that we have every single new console generation. Ooh, it's a shiny, flashier turd.
Right, well, like, PS2 to PS3 was big because, HD really did make a difference. But, like, PS4... so much it was like under the hood stuff, or even like I would say new genres, but we didn't get any new genres really.
Battle Royale.
But even Battle Royale, right, is a multiplayer mode.
Yes.
Like I want new ideas, but I'm not convinced we're gonna get them. So I would just say like better AI, I guess, would be cool.
See, I don't. You give your answer, and then I have a rebuttal for Zach.
All right,
Okay.
I'm gonna say Project X Cloud.
Why?
Because I know you're able to use it now, but I'm not. So shut up.
But that's the problem. Is we have that this generation. You may not be able to utilize it, but it's still out there.
I would have to imagine that that's going to be something that's going to be integrated into the next generation hardware. That's
more than likely.
So I love the idea of to play something on my Series X and then pop over on my phone or on my PC or my MacBook. Fingers crossed, I can actually do that and play something away from my TV if I'm not able to be in front of my TV. The thought of being able to sit there and play Children of Morta while my wife is watching TV or something, that's the dream. Because my wife will not come down in the basement and hang out with me while I'm playing games, even if she's not watching the TV, like she's just farting around on her computer or her phone or whatever. She will not do that down in the basement.
That's just kind of sad.
Yeah. So if I can do that upstairs while she's watching Siren, then I can play my game at the same time and still like hang out with her. That is awesome.
I'm
take my phone with me.
I'm excited for Ubisoft to run out of ideas and have to reboot Prince of Persia.
Play it again and again.
All right.
Well,
go ahead.
Quick rebuttal on Zach's. The possibility of like improved AI. Again, I know I bring this game up a lot, but it does have quite possibly the best AI engine. Alien Isolation, man. Like I wish more games utilized a AI engine like that. Because it is insanely complex. Like, I watched a documentary on how complex that AI is.
I mean, that's exciting, right? Game. And the Nemesis system was also super exciting AI system.
Yeah.
I would like to see more stuff like that. Hits you kind of unexpectedly.
Yeah.
I
want
to go back to the wacky days of the PS2 and even most of the PS3 cycle where there were risks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I definitely feel that there was not enough risks taken this generation from anyone.
Well, I'd say for the higher end AAA-esque games, I think the bigger risks were taken in the indie market, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Look at like Super Hot.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. There are risks there, but I mean, even India feels like 80% of them are gear-gated 2D platforming games.
True.
Yeah. So.
All right, moving on. Kevin Honigford says, what names do you give the characters you play in video games? Mine is constantly Ash from The Crow, City of Angels, not Pokemon. If I'm playing a single player or local game, my main character in my MMOs has always been High Voltage or some variation. What about you guys?
For me, it's always one of two characters. Multiplayer games, it's always Artemis. And for single player games, it's always Faerun.
Okay.
Any reason why?
Faerun is one of my favorite characters from a book series called War of the Spider Queen by R.A. Salvatore. He's just a very cocky mage. And
R.A. Salvatore, the man who killed Chewbacca.
Yes, Vector Prime.
Yes.
Artemis, simply because I've also from an R.A. Salvatore series, but is also the god of the hunt.
You're a big R.A. Salvatore guy, huh?
I have every book he's ever written.
Man, you must... Did you play Kingdoms of Amalur?
Yes, I did.
Okay, all right. I was gonna say, man, he wrote that.
Yep. And I'm excited for the remaster.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited for the remaster.
So.
That's cool, man.
What about you, Zach?
I am Ashrak aiming in every game. That's just,
what if you can't fit it? Do you just do Ashrak?
Then I'll just do Ashrak. Yep. But in most RPGs and stuff, they'll give you a lot of characters to work with. You know, that started with KOTOR just because it sounded, like I was already mulling it over as my new gamer tag going forward or whatever. But it sounded vaguely Star Wars enough. That name of character, that in KOTOR. And I don't know. To me, I could wrap my head around it being your name in most video game settings, like fantasy or sci-fi or whatever. The exception is if your character has a name like Shepard in Mass Effect, I'll just be Zach's Shepard. But otherwise, it's just Ashrak Gaming because that's it. That's me.
Yeah, I'm pretty boring as well. Mine is almost always Scotty, Scottie, or if my gamer tag Scotty Lindsay. I usually don't have a name that I come up with, although I can't remember if I told you guys. I know I told it years ago when we first started doing this show. You guys remember Secret of Evermore?
Yes.
On the Super Nintendo? You could name your character, but you could also name your dog. I remember playing that game with my buddy Tim, and he named his main character Tim, and then he named his dog Butt Nugget.
Oh, jeez.
And I'll never forget it because every time he died, it was like had this little game over screen that says, "Sadly, Tim and Butt Nugget were never heard from again."
That's funny.
So ever since then, if I can name my pet, I always name my pet Butt Nugget.
Oh, cute.
Because I think it's funny.
What about CB? Do you have a consistent name for your animal companions in video games?
Yeah. I stole it from my buddy who I played WoW with. My buddy Brandon, who lives up in Milwaukee, was at my wedding. I always laughed because his character that he always names is Therapist.
He names his pet Therapist?
No. His main character that he uses for everything is Therapist. But if you remember a certain Saturday Night Live skit, that word is...
Oh, yeah.
So...
No, I don't. I'm not in on the joke.
The Celebrity Jeopardy, Sean Connery.
Break down the word.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
I'm caught up now. I didn't see this.
Anal bum covers.
But
I always use Casca, who's the female lead of the Berserk manga.
Nice.
Okay.
All right, moving on to Discord. Nate Lucas, what is the coolest video game collectible in your collection, and what would you love to have but don't or can't have or get? I'll start this one. The coolest thing I could, I would love to have but I can't get, has got to be Little Samson, right? I mean, that's a given.
Really?
The most expensive game.
You're going to think that small? I mean, you could go with the Nintendo World Championship card.
Nintendo World Championship, yeah, that would be absolutely sweet. You actually got to hold one.
Yes.
Whoa, that's cool.
Yeah, that was it about how much was that worth? About
at the time, about 110,000.
110,000, yeah. I will never own one of those. It always makes me mad when I see people posting, "Oh, I found a copy of Stadium Events in my grandma's closet, sealed. It's that she forgot to give me for my birthday when I was a kid." It just makes me so mad that I don't have that. As far as like favorite thing I own, I love my Master Sword. I know that's not that expensive, but that thing just looks freaking sweet, and it looks really cool hanging on my stuff. Owens actually gave me, for my birthday one year, he bought me one of the cartridges that was buried in the Alamogordo Desert.
Still jealous.
When they dug up all those ET cartridges and all the other Atari games that were dumped in the Phil, like however many years ago. So I have one of those, like a certificate of authenticity and all that kind of stuff. It proves it was there. That's pretty cool. But outside of that, a single game. I love that Action 52 on NES. Even though the game is terrible, I just love how the cartridge looks. I think that's pretty sweet.
I can give you that one. It looks pretty sweet.
What about you, CB? You got quite the collection.
Oh God, I've like been dreading this question. Like, if I had to pick one thing to actually add to my collection, it would probably be an M82 demo unit for Nintendo.
Is that the rifle?
No, it was the kiosk unit that you could find at stores where it had like all the different carts in it, and you push the button and it would switch games.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
They had those at an arcade we went to, didn't we? It was a joystick. And
well, that was a Play Choice 10.
Oh, okay.
The M82 was like the demo units that they had at Walmart's in like the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's definitely something I would love to get my hands on. They're just really finicky and they break a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as like the coolest item in mine, it's kind of a tie for my Galaga cabinet. I mean, I love that thing to death. And then my now framed poster that Sissy drew all over for Firewatch.
Oh, that's cool.
That means so much to me because you know me, I adore that game so much.
Mm-hmm. You guys can see mine behind me probably right now, can't you?
Yeah. Well,
it's not.
But
you can't see the signature, but
I meant
I have it on the wall right behind
the actual poster that came in the limited run game.
Oh yeah, that had like the map. It was
the actual map that, as the game went on, it had like all the little notes drawn on it, and she drew all the notes and then other things on it. I was like, yeah, I love that thing to death. It meant a lot to me because how hard that game, like physical game, was to get.
Right.
So
that's a cool one. Zach, what about you?
Yeah, I feel like my answers are so much more boring than you guys. I have the Nier Automata Black Box Edition. I'm pretty proud of that because it was so limited because they didn't think there was an audience for it.
Mm-hmm.
And now there is quite the audience for it, so that's kind of feel ahead of the curve on that. I do have my copy of Nier is signed by Liam O'Brien and Laura Bailey. I like it, so I'm pretty proud of that. That's pretty cool. But I mean, in terms of stuff I want, there was this big Dragon Guard in Japan. It's called Dragon Dragoon, and they had a 10th anniversary huge box set they released in Japan. But it's incredibly limited and it's pretty expensive, but I would love to get my hands on that. Or more recently, because I am now committed to buying every Star Wars game ever is my goal, my first collector's goal. There's some limited editions that they did for like Bounty Hunter, Jedi Academy, and Jedi Outcast that I am now.
Good luck.
Now that I super freaking want now.
Did you just see the one that they did for Star Wars Racer?
Yes.
It was okay. Man,
I mean, I just want them all.
I may be able to help you out because I know somebody that has the NES cart ones that they did for sale.
Oh, and the repackage them or whatever.
Yeah, the repackaging, like the action figures.
Yeah. It was like a brilliant thing to do, by the way.
That was so smart. That was slick.
They look really good.
All right, our next one comes from Carmel Bear, who says, what was the weirdest gaming and or non-gaming accessory you thought was a good idea to buy it at the time, only to regret why you even bought the item in the first place?
Oh man. The Sega Bat.
Sega Bat?
It was either that or the Sega Activator.
The Activator, is that the targeting reticle thing that goes in front of your eye?
Oh, no. So the Sega Activator was the Kinect before the Kinect. It was this big octagon thing that you put on the ground, and it had infrared that went up like in each segment, so you could use it like a controller. It just doesn't work well.
Oh, okay.
And
my answer was going to be the Power Glove.
Yeah.
So,
but I convinced my parents to let me get one when I was a kid, and that thing is awful. But they also, the Sega Bat, they actually made a controller that was a foam bat with buttons on it to play baseball games.
Would you actually swing it?
Yeah, I still have it. It's terrible. Like
how did
it basically had like an accelerometer in it, so when you swung it, it basically shot to one end to simulate the swing.
Gotcha. Any for you, Zach?
I know that I've honestly never really bought like accessories for my consoles. They always just kind of struck me as gimmicky. I would say like the VR oftentimes feels useless because I don't use my PSVR. But then they got like Squadrons and Vader Immortal and Iron Man VR. So I'm like, oh, now it's on me, not on the not on the accessory.
Right.
So just I don't know, and really. I mean, I think of all those lamp lights you bought for the Game Boy, I guess. But
oh man,
because they never had they didn't have the backlight or whatever.
Oh, the Light Boy was great. That thing was a godsend.
Still have mine.
I feel like I burned through those as a kid.
But, I will say I did feel I had to have a chat pad for the Xbox 360 back in the day, and then I think I used it once.
I was gonna say, like, what was the one that you used the most? I was gonna say I used my chat pad religiously.
Yeah, I use the chat pad all the time.
My problem was I didn't like how the controller felt when it was on, so I would plug it in, type whatever I needed, and then take it off and set it to the side because I hated holding it. It reminded me of the Xbox original controller.
I'll say
when it had that piece in the middle.
I had one that was basically cemented in there.
I did not like it.
I loved the chat pad. I want it brought back.
I don't think you need it, man, in the era of phones.
Yeah, now you just pull up your phone and enter the code in, or
I meant
way easier.
Like, because I watch YouTube and other things on my Xbox.
Okay.
Or like even scrolling through like Vudu or Netflix, I'm like, search chat pad is great.
Is there a chat pad for Xbox One?
I don't know if there is, but I want there to be if there isn't. Because I hate sitting there scrolling with the thumbstick. It's horrible.
Yeah, we use the triggers.
Yeah.
Zeplantis has any suggestions on games a newer gamer should try? This is an interesting one.
Tetris.
Spider-Man immediately comes to mind.
Do you think Spider-Man is accessible for someone that doesn't play a lot of games, though?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, there's a reason it has such a high completion rate. In a lot of, like, even people I know who don't play video games have beaten Spider-Man. Like, it's just, I think it's incredibly accessible, and on the lower difficulties, in a lot of ways, it plays itself, right? Because to swing, all you really have to do is push forward and hold R2.
Right, that's true. I was going to say something like the Telltale games that are story driven but have some input in them that's not going to require a lot of twitch, even though there are dialogue choices that are timed and they may not know the buttons, but that's a good way to learn the button, figure eight configurations, which one's A, X, B, and Y. That would have been my call. CB?
God, what was the first one called? The first was it Shadow or War for Mordor?
Shadow of Mordor.
Shadow
of Mordor was the first one, yeah.
I think that's a great one because the learning curve for that is it's not overly difficult, and that game is fun.
Well, imagine you've never played a game before. Go into a combat scenario with that. Your natural inclination is just going to be to button mash. You can't button mash those games.
The first few you can.
Yeah, okay.
But you got to learn.
Yeah, I mean, I also would have said Arkham Asylum is a good one just because of the combat system. I mean, I love those combat systems quite a lot, as you know, but they are very easy to get into. It is, you don't even have to point in a direction. Batman just strikes if you hit the attack button. So all you have to really engage in if you're brand new to video games is wait for that white flash above the enemy head and press the button. So I think it's very easy to get into that combat.
Fair enough.
I would, or any Zelda game.
Even the early ones.
I mean,
no,
anything
the first one.
A Link to the Past and onwards.
Okay, there you go.
I think you could still play. If you're a new gamer, you still play Ocarina for the first time today. I still think you're gonna have a hell of a time.
Yeah.
Especially on 3DS, it looks a lot better.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild would actually be a really good entry point as well, or Mario Odyssey.
Breath of the Wild might actually be a bad first game because you're gonna expect every video game to have those systems and that kind of open, like a way
Go
to
anywhere you want to.
Yeah, and like almost anything you think of, you can do in that game. You're like, oh, would it make sense if I, throw this rock down this hill? Will it hit into that barrel and explode that camp? You're like, yes, it will. That's cool. But then you go play Uncharted. You're like, why can't I'm shooting the wall and nothing is happening? Like that might just ruin video games for you.
Yeah, but at the same time, Breath of the Wild teaches a lot of skills that translate to other video games in a very controlled setting.
I agree.
I still think people would be frustrated with the weapon damage in that.
I mean,
that game feels like a survival game at the beginning.
That game is better for the weapon degradation. But
that's a whole argument we could have another time. But
yeah,
if you're trying to get someone into games, you want to give something that's going to give them successes early on, and you don't really have those successes until later, until after you get the glider, right?
Right.
The beginning of that game is not.
I don't know, man.
Super accessible. I mean, and again, that's just me talking. When I think a game that I'm going to give to a new gamer to try to get them into it, my first thought is something that's easy to get into. It's not going to require a lot of twitch. It's not going to. You're talking about people that may not have an understanding of a 3D camera,
right?
You're looking for simplicity.
I agree with CB in that, I think your first game should be something you're also learning with, because a Telltale game is not going to give you any skills to play other video games.
Button configuration, like I said, it'll teach you which buttons are which.
I guess, but I mean, I feel like you might be selling people short.
But it doesn't teach you any skills beyond that. It doesn't teach you how to aim properly.
It's a place to start.
Yeah, that's a pretty, in my opinion, it's a poor place to start, because other than button configuration, what other skills is it going to teach you to translate into the next game you're going to play?
Cursor movement. You still move your character around. There's still movement, and there's no worry that if you don't move around in the space in a certain amount of time, or you're not dodging anything or fearing death, it's just let me manipulate and figure out how to get around this environment. There's simple movement.
I'm still gonna stand by Spider-Man. He's also it also helps that he's a character that seemingly everybody adores.
Right.
And it's a great.
I'm not saying it's a bad choice.
And it's a great story.
Yes, yeah.
It is. Let's move on. Thomas Bex, are there any genres that you're surprised that you like playing? For instance, I mostly played adventure games and RPGs, but I also really like turn-based isometric strategy games like XCOM, Mutant Year Zero, and Desperados, especially if they have a stealth element in them. Zach, what about you? Any games that you're surprised that you like?
Any genres? I mean, I don't know. Anytime I like an open world game, I'm surprised. I think the honest answer is every time I go back and dabble in a Call of Duty campaign, I'm always like, oh yeah, these are super fun. I always write them off because it's a big explosive game and all the marketing ever talks about is the freaking multiplayer. But I like the campaigns in those games a lot.
I do as well. That's all I play.
Yeah, same.
Legitimately all I play. Let's see. For me, I'm surprised that I actually like some sports games now and then. Okay. Almost every year, I love to play MLB The Show. I don't know why. I won't play a full season or anything, but I just love to rent it back when you could rent games and play it a weekend with some buddies that are baseball fans and just see what new mechanics there are and play Cubs versus Brewers just for the fun of it. NFL Blitz. I wish they'd bring that back. I wish we could get another licensed Blitz game.
That would be pretty dope.
Those games are I actually played some Blitz. Remember when I told you I went to that place called Tilt in Rockford a couple of weekends ago? I met Jordan Derringer High. We decided to play 4 full quarters of a game of Blitz out there.
Man.
The game is just so much fun. So yeah, sports games now and then strike a chord. I'll never be good at Madden, but I still like to play it.
All right.
How about you?
Golf games.
Yeah, I love golf games.
Golf games, and then fight like 1v1 fighters.
Like Street Fighter and
Yeah, because I am awful at those, but I have so much fun with them. But golf games, man, love them.
Golf games are dope.
They really are.
Absolutely.
What was the last one? The PS4 one that it was like $20 at launch. Everybody golfs or
everybody's golf.
Everybody's golf.
Yeah, it was
like the Hot Shots people. That's actually what they call it in Japan, right?
Right. Yep, that is true.
Oh, but that's more arcadey golf. Like I'm talking like the actual like Tiger Woods or Rory McIlroy ones.
Oh, I don't know if I've ever gotten into those. I like the arcadey ones. Even Mario Golf was great.
I could sit down and play 18 holes on any of the realistic golf ones anytime. Love them.
And the good thing is the fun thing about that is finding somebody that's equally as good and just sitting down. It's just like a very relaxing, competitive thing. I don't know how else to describe it.
Oh, there's been countless hours I've spent playing with Nate Lucas, playing Tiger Woods games.
All right, let's go ahead and move on. Drew Ross, if you had to pick only one fast food restaurant to eat at for the rest of your life, what would you choose? I feel like I know what Zach's answer is going to be.
It's Taco Bell.
Yeah, it's Taco Bell for me as well.
They have a new box special every month.
So you get a little bit of variety?
Exactly.
I was talking to somebody the other day because when I recorded episode 400, I ate Taco Bell on the way there for dinner. Taco Bell is a food that I will never understand, that I eat and I never am satisfied. I actually have to physically stop eating and tell myself, you're not going to be hungry in 20 minutes if you just sit. Because I just keep going and going. It tastes so good.
It's so excellent. Yeah, so 2 Taco Bells, CB.
Culver's.
Culver's is a great call. And you know what's great about Culver's is you get a good variety too, because it's not just burgers and fries. They've got fish and chicken and all sorts of stuff. They even have like, I'm not going to say fancy dinners, but you can get like broiled cod or something there, can't you?
Yeah.
You get like a fish dinner?
I won't eat it, but for me, it's always going to be, it's like a toss-up between Culver's or Beefaroo. Because I can't live without my Beefaroo salt, man.
Yeah, if I was so local to Rockford, the answer would probably be Beefaroo.
Those fries.
The fries are so good.
The fries are so good.
Man, when they're fresh and you got that salt on them, oh man, it's so good. David Newman, if you could live in any other era of time, what would you choose? You cannot say this is the best time to be alive. Got to pick a different era.
I don't know who the hell would say that right now is the best time to live.
I don't know either. I don't know. My problem with this is my only way to really choose an era is what I see on media, like movies, television shows, games. Part of me wants to say like the 50s, because the way the 50s are portrayed just feels like very
happy days.
Everybody's happy, and you know the worst trouble is so and so was up at the hill making out. Like that was the worst thing going on. I don't know, and it's probably not really the way it actually was, because I don't have any way to know. I wasn't there, but I just always think of the 50s as being like a pleasant era to live in. You guys?
I would probably say the 40s.
Why 40s?
Just the music, man.
Yeah. Whenever someone says 40s, I think like zoot suits and smoky bars with jazz music or you know what you call it?
The lounge singers, man.
Yeah.
Like I'm all about that life. I love those types, but the blues music was so good.
That too.
Don't you have to contend with World War II though?
Yeah. So 1946 to 19 actually, you know what? I take that all back. I'm actually going to change my answer on the fly here. The late 1960s. Simply because of my absolute and utter obsession and adoration with the space race.
I didn't mean to make you jump decades. My bad.
No, well, I mean the blues music was still very well alive around that time, but I've always been obsessed, even growing up, with the space race and just being alive when in a time where humanity almost put so much like crap aside in the pursuit of like getting to like the moon or seeing like what else is out there. I feel that humanity as a whole has kind of lost that. Like I want humanity to come together as a whole again for the betterment of humanity in the simple fact of getting off this rock.
I think we're a long ways away from that happening.
I agree.
But I appreciate your optimism. Zach, what era for you?
My answer is always the Wild West.
And you wouldn't survive either. You and I both wouldn't survive in the Wild West.
Cholera.
I would love. That's what I love about it. It seems like every day might have been your last. I like that.
You've died of dysentery.
Earn your survival every day. I assume in this, I don't know. I mean, yeah. Again, it is informed mostly by media. But there's just nothing cooler than the gunslinger.
I could see that. All right, next one. Spencer Cushing. If you could do anything illegal without getting caught, what would you do? Also, what's the worst thing you've said or done on a first date? I don't remember first dates, but...
Oh, I do.
If you could do anything illegal without getting caught, what would you do? Well, weed is legal in Illinois now, but I'm still not allowed to partake as a state employee.
Yeah.
So if I could get away with that, I would, but it's not worth risking my job over. So,
man,
you guys,
I feel like after this episode, we're all going to be on a watch list,
right?
No, I'll let you go ahead and whatever you got, Zach, because I got to think about this one for a second.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything like pressing to do. Rob a bank, I guess. What a boring answer that is, though.
Rob a bank in the Wild West.
I mean, but it says without getting caught, right? So I could make out like a freaking bandit on this thing. But otherwise, like,
you know what? I'm going to change mine. If I could just slap the crap out of somebody without any repercussions, there's a couple people I'd just like to give them a wake up call. Can I change mine to that?
Sure.
Does presidential assassination count?
Whoa!
Ooh.
What?
You really want to?
Now you're really going to be put on a watch list.
Boom! Flagged.
Thinking out loud. Yeah, I guess it's selfish. I don't know. Rob a bank, man.
Rob a bank. All right, Steve, you have to give an answer now.
Go grab a gigantic handful of cow crap and smash it into Kim Jong-un's face.
Wow.
Because I just feel like he's such a crappy human being.
Oh my god, man!
A very
I thought of a better answer. Sorry.
Oh,
you thought of a better answer too?
Because along the same lines of like, I could do anything illegal without getting caught. How about hack into the government servers and learn every single classified piece of dossier?
I can live with that answer.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Oh man. Yeah, I could see that.
And then now I have the power to determine what the American people can or cannot know.
Oh, that would, man, great power. Take some great responsibility.
Yeah, I'll use it responsibly, absolutely.
Last one. This one comes from Twitter.
Oh,
Lamer Waffle.
We didn't answer the second half of that.
Oh yeah, what's the worst thing you said or did on a first date?
Scott, you've had one first date?
Huh?
You've had what, one first date?
Shut up. I've not had one first date. I don't remember any. I can't even think of any first dates. It's been so long since I've been on a first date. 15 years since I've been on a first date.
I stood up a girl on a first date.
Ooh.
So I feel like that probably counts.
Yeah, that counts.
I took a girl to go see Freddy Got Fingered.
Did anybody else in that audience?
Oh, that was opening weekend for that movie.
No, I'm saying, did anybody else get fingered?
No.
Wow, this episode, guys. Wow.
What's the name of the title? Sorry, dude, I don't mean to get in trouble.
It's not a censored title.
Anyway, well, okay, so I don't have a first date for me, but I have a funny story about a first date of my brother's, because my brother wanted to take a girl to a movie, but he was pretty young, so my mom asked me to take him and this girl he liked to movies, and I brought a friend with me, and they sat in different rows from us, but me and my buddy were on a mission to embarrass my brother on this quote-unquote date as much as possible. So
you're a jerk.
We would wait for the quiet, because we were sitting like 2 rows behind him or something, and we would wait for the quietest parts of the movie and just rip the loudest fart that we could. And they obviously knew it was us. My brother was so mad. We thought it was hysterical. I'm like, 16, 17 years old, however, and I thought it was funny. Looking back on it, pretty juvenile, but I was a juvenile.
Still funny.
Yeah. All right, can I move on to the last question now?
Let's do it.
All right, Twitter, Lamer Waffle. What game caught you off guard?
What was CB's answer to the worst thing on the first date? I'm sorry, did he give one?
Yeah, I took a girl to go see Freddy Got Fingered.
Oh, yeah, what am I thinking? I'm sorry. Scott, you were saying?
Twitter, Lamer Waffle says, what game caught you off guard with an emotional moment? Last of Us is excluded due to its recency. I'll kick things off. Outside of that, the most emotional I got from a game in recent memory is BioShock Infinite. That whole ending kind of blew my mind a little bit, and the constants and change thing. And then to wrap it all up, I'm staring at the credits in disbelief of what I just saw and how the game wrapped up. And you see what happens in the credits. I was getting goosebumps. Is that a spoiler to say what happens in the credits, even though it's not like really story related to the game? Can I say it?
I think you.
This is Scott Clark in the Gaming Outsider.
It's been 7 years, and you're close to the end of the show, so I guess people can just skip if they want.
I mean, it's not. It has nothing to do with the story in the game.
What happens in the credits, man? Tell me.
Huh?
Tell me.
In the credits, there is a live recording of Troy Baker and, forgive me, I cannot remember the name of the actress that played Elizabeth, but it's him and a guitar, and the two of them are singing this beautiful rendition of May the Circle Be Unbroken. And what's his name? Ken Levine is like kind of directing them and giving them, I don't know, their harmonies and just the way. It's just a very moving way to end that game that just kind of put me in awe. I was just staring at the screen, just filled with emotion from the game I played, and that was a perfect cap to it that just gave me the feels, as it were.
Right in the feels.
CB, how about you?
I got 2 from recent memories.
Okay.
One was Ori and the Will of the Wisps.
That's a good one.
There was a scene in that made me shed a tear.
Yeah.
And then Spider-Man. And Zach knows the exact scene I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah, I know it too.
I cried like a little girl.
Yep, there's... I expected to have emotional reactions to Spider-Man, because I cannot watch Spider-Man 1 or 2 without crying to this day, so it didn't really... It caught me off guard. The scene did.
Yeah.
But I expected to get emotional from that game, but Final Fantasy 15 jumps to mind for me.
That's a good one.
Bro trip.
The final cutscene goes back in time a little bit, and you see like they were so smart to play the last cutscene where it is instead of where it takes place in the timeline. Because the way the game wraps up, and they take you back to those characters, and it hits you. And then, similar to Infinite, they play Stand By Me over the credits, and it gives you like all your photos of the game are playing over it, and it's just that game was more emotional than you ever would have expected from the sales pitch of 4 dudes on a road trip.
Yep, I agree, and it actually had a satisfying conclusion, unlike most Final Fantasy games that just.
Yes.
Feel like, we got to wrap this up somehow.
And it was even, it's more reserved than most too, right? It wasn't like huge bombastic monster of a boss fight. You just fought the dude who was the bad guy. It didn't even like transform or anything. It was a very
this
impressive.
Isn't even my final form.
Yeah, none of that nonsense.
I loved that game so much. Another one I would replay if it were remastered. I shouldn't say that. It'll happen. All right, that was fun. Thank you so much, everybody, for the questions. Next week's topic is still to be determined, but we will...
I had a question.
Oh, you...
I told you that at the beginning, man.
CB, ask your question.
I'm waiting for Scott to pick his head up. Unless you just want to... You know what?
No, go ahead. Ask your question.
Okay. With all the simulator games that are like being produced and slammed out these days, I want to know what your guys what you guys would think would make a great entry, and then also a hilarious entry. Like, you know, like car simulator and mechanic simulator, like all those.
Oh, like a PC builder simulator?
Yeah. I want to know what you guys would think would be a great entry, and then like, or like a hilarious one. Like just one that you're like, why was this ever made?
I mean, I would have said Starfighter Simulator would be a great one.
Starfighter?
Yeah.
It's like the last Starfighter?
No, like a generic sci-fi starfighting game. But it really feels like Squadrons is going to give us that.
Yes.
So now I'm just going to say like a Jedi simulator where you go to Jedi school would be pretty cool. Like you go to Luke's Jedi Academy. But I guess it's not a canon anymore. But that would be rad, right? Or even like a Harry Potter one, like a Hogwarts simulator. That'd be cool.
I mean, technically, we're also getting that. They're making an MMO.
Right, yeah.
Quidditch simulator.
Sounds nauseating, but yeah, that'd be cool.
Get Quidditch in VR.
Sounds nauseating, man.
I think it sounds great.
Vomit simulator.
But
I mean, I'm intrigued by isn't there like a power washing simulator?
I guess.
No, there is. There's a PC game that is just like you just go power wash houses. Have you ever power washed something and just like that satisfying feeling of line by line cleaning this thing up and making it look clean?
Have I got a subreddit for you?
So you basically it's like a Zen simulator. I'm just I'm just imagining the controller vibrating the whole time.
Somebody said that when we talked about it on Facebook, actually. Wasn't there a game where you played like the cleanup crew after like in a video game where the antagonist or the protagonist goes around like blasting aliens and then you're part of the cleanup crew going and cleaning up all the dead bodies and stuff?
The lab simulator. Like,
is that what it's called?
It's like Viscera Simulator or Cleanup or something. I don't know.
I thought that was just a brilliant idea. It's funny that I'm drawn to those kinds of games because I hate doing that stuff in real life. Why do I enjoy doing it in a video game?
Viscera Cleanup Detail.
Yes, that was the one.
That was such a great concept. That was good. As far as like crazy, weird ones, probably ones I can't talk about on this show.
Whoa. Okay.
Wow.
I
don't know.
Comic store owner simulator.
Ooh.
Okay.
You just have to file away comics by alphabetization while some customer keeps talking to you about like who would win in a fight, Hulk or Wolverine, and you're like, I don't care.
Or the random customer that like comes and pulls comics out and then puts them in a different spot.
Yeah, you just have like kids running around the store who just like throw floppies everywhere.
Oh,
and the parents who think that that's totally okay.
I believe it or not, that actually sounds pretty entertaining.
People keep trying to come in and sell their copy of Death of Superman because they think it's worth money, and you just have to tell them, I wouldn't even give you a penny for it.
Yeah.
Pogo Stick Simulator.
There you go.
I just want an open world where I have to go from point A to point B everywhere on a pogo stick in VR.
Oh God! Now you really want to make a vomit simulator?
Yeah, dude. You get that kind of sense of flying, and then you can get upgrades that make the pogo stick actually have a higher bounce, so you can actually like jump over houses and stuff eventually.
I'm imagining a level where you skydive and you have to land the pogo stick right.
There you go.
To survive. Like
Pilot Wing style?
No, yeah. Just come up with a great physics game.
What were your answers, CB?
Oh, I was thinking like work. So the one that I would think would be hilarious would be working in a grocery store. Like just
you have experience.
Yes. So I just want to see somebody be like, why was this game made?
Isn't there a grocery store simulator?
Not that
grocery store like cashier simulator?
Not that I know of.
Sounds awful.
I could have swore that existed already.
Barista simulator.
As far as a good one, like, man, like now my brain is just stuck on Zach's idea as a good one, a comic book store one.
Comic store? Oh man,
I would play the crap out of that game. Actually, I could have fun with that.
Or throw statues at kids' heads.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to go small business store owner simulator. You make your own like whatever store you want.
All right.
So Moonlighter, but like instead of going and fighting in dungeons and stuff,
you just do the store stuff.
Yep.
All right. What about a crazy one?
Oh, the crazy one was the grocery store one, but you have to be like just bag groceries, just over and over.
While people cough on you.
Oh, that sounds awful.
Oh man, that's the worst simulator game, the COVID simulator.
Yes.
Oh God. Don't know good. All right, can we wrap up now?
It was called Pandemic.
Yeah, but the VR is just scans your room, and then the VR helmet is just you in your same apartment. Oh. You can't go anywhere. That's the game.
Yes, well we can move on.
We're going to move on. That is going to do it for this episode. Thank you, everybody, for all the questions, for all the feedback. Stay tuned for next week's topic. We have yet to determine what that is. But, Zach, do you have any parting words before we get out of here?
Don't be afraid to go back in time to play a new game. You know, like playing Far Cry 3 was a great reminder of there are still so many untapped games. Those games you kind of skipped. Give them a shot, man.
That's good advice. I wish I could heed your advice. I try.
Don't always. I think you're coming up on a bit of a lull here shortly, so.
Yeah, I got a game coming out in 2 days that I have to. It's
after
an RPG.
After these games, yes.
And then Ghost of Tsushima.
Yes.
Yeah, 2 pretty massive titles. I'm not gonna have a lull for a while.
Then Avengers and Assassin's Creed Valhalla and.
Well, those are.
CB, how about you, man?
Feel like making a music recommendation this week. I've been listening to a band that I used to listen to a lot again. Zebrahead.
I've heard the name, but I don't know anything about that.
It's a dual singer band, kind of pop punk from early to mid 2000s. It's a lot of fun to listen to. Song Rescue Me.
All right.
Cool. And of course,
well, everybody
Hamilton.
out there. Yeah. And watch Hamilton. Have you watched it on Disney, Zach? Or you just listen to the soundtrack?
No, yeah, I have seen it twice on Disney Plus.
I have seen it about 5 or 6 times. Chris came over today and I was watching it.
I haven't watched it yet.
It's long, but it's so good. It makes for great background noise when you're working on something. I just love it so much. I absolutely love that. Need more of that stuff. Everybody, thank you so much for listening. The Gaming Outsider is produced by Nate Lucas, and all the music you hear is written and performed by Grant Henry of Stemmage and Metroid Metal. You can listen to his stuff over at stemmagemusic.com. Please be sure to email us if you have any questions or concerns. Our address is feedback@thegamingoutsider.com. Until next week, I'm Scott Clark with Zach Parkerson and Chris Behrensmeyer, and we are The Gaming Outsider. Remember, there's no such thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you.